Hi, I'm Lily, 27 years old. I became an orphan when I was young after my parents died in a car crash. They didn't have any family to take care of me, so I ended up in an orphanage. I stayed there for 3 years before my adoptive parents came and took me in. They were really wealthy, and my life became very comfortable after that. They didn't want my adoption to be a big deal, so they kept it quiet and focused on doing good without drawing attention. When I grew up and moved out on my own, my parents decided to take a trip to Europe to expand their business. Around this time, I met Ethan, my now ex-husband. We met in college and immediately liked each other. He was fun, kind, and made me feel really special. After dating for a while, we became an official couple. We had what seemed like the perfect relationship. But there was one issue: Ethan's family didn't like me. The first time I met them was after we graduated college. Ethan waited until we were both settled in good jobs before introducing me to them. He warned me that his parents were pretty judgmental when it came to their kids' partners, and he wanted me to make a good impression. I didn't mind, but I was nervous about meeting them. By the time Ethan introduced me to his parents, we'd been together for 4 years and were even engaged. I figured this would make things even harder, since they hadn't even gotten to know me as his girlfriend. I was anxious about it and talked to Ethan the night before we were supposed to meet them. "They're going to hate me, Ethan." "They won't, I promise." "Do you think they'll be shocked when they find out we're engaged?" "Well, yeah, but I don't think it'll be a huge deal." "Are you serious? You were nervous about introducing me because you know how critical they are, and now you think introducing me as your fiancé won't make them judge me even more?" "Look, even if they do, will it really matter?" "It won't matter to me, but I'm not sure about you. You always seem so careful about them." "I promise it won't affect me at all." "Okay, if you say so, but do you think we should wait a bit to tell them we're engaged? Maybe a month later? Would that make you feel better?" "I think we should keep it quiet for now. I want to make a good impression on them." "You don't have to worry, I'll be there with you." "Thanks, Sam." The reason I was so nervous was that whenever I suggested Ethan tell his parents about me, he would make a big deal out of them possibly not approving. At this point, I began to understand why. Ethan's family was rich, and they liked living in luxury. They wanted the same for their children, so they only accepted partners who were equally wealthy or wealthier. I wasn't rich by their standards, and I hadn't told Ethan about my background because I didn't think it mattered. By the time I figured out why he was so cautious, I didn't think they needed to know about my family. I wanted them to like me for who I was, not because of money. I honestly thought they would accept me, but I was wrong. We met at an upscale restaurant to see Ethan's parents. As we walked in, he held my hand. I wore my engagement ring on a necklace so it wouldn't be too obvious. When we reached the table, Ethan's parents already seemed upset. He'd warned me they were picky about time, and we were 2 minutes late. Things weren't off to a good start. They looked me over with disgust and ignored me for a while, talking only to Ethan. I felt so small. The longer they ignored me, the more I wanted to leave. I kept my head down, but finally, Ethan drew their attention to me. "Mom, Dad, you can't just keep ignoring me like this. This is my amazing girlfriend, Lily." "Oh, hello, it's nice to meet both of you." "Hi, I wish I could say the same." "Mom, what do you mean?" "I'm just being honest." "So, Lily, I heard you met Ethan in college, is that right?" "Yes, we did. We shared a few classes together." "And how did you manage to attend that college? I know the tuition is expensive, and it's a tough place to get into." "Dad, that's enough. You won't speak to your father like that. He's asking a fair question. Lily, please answer him." "Well, I got a scholarship there. I'm really grateful because not only did I learn a lot, but I also got to meet Ethan, and that's been one of the best things that's happened to me." "Of course, it's one of the best things for you. He's rich, and you need that kind of money. At least you have some brains because your looks aren't exactly impressive." "What? That's enough. We're leaving." "Come on, Lily." Ethan grabbed my hand, and we walked out. I was in shock. I couldn't believe how mean they were, so openly and to my face. I didn't know how to feel at that moment. The car ride back home was silent because Ethan was really upset. When we got home, he made sure I was okay, but honestly, I didn't know what to feel. I had dressed up nicely, sat properly, and didn't order anything too expensive, but somehow, without saying a word, Rose and Tom judged me. Ethan didn't talk to his parents for a while after that. They texted him, saying we were rude for walking out during lunch. Ethan didn't respond at first and only messaged them a month later to tell them we were engaged. His parents weren't happy, but Ethan told them they wouldn't hear from him again if they said anything negative about me. They offered to pay for our wedding, but only if they could control everything about it. Obviously, neither Ethan nor I wanted that, so we decided to elope. My parents were in Europe and knew about our plan. They were happy for us and sent us a gift. Ethan raised an eyebrow when they sent an expensive painting, but I just shrugged it off. After we got married, we saw Rose and Tom at a party they hosted for their anniversary. Honestly, I was surprised they invited me, even though they didn't like me. When we got there, I was ignored by everyone. If being ignored by 2 people was bad, being ignored by around 30 people was even worse. I stuck by Ethan's side, but no one even tried to talk to me. If I did try to start a conversation, people would look me up and down and walk away, or just keep talking to Ethan like I wasn't there. By the end of the night, I was in tears. I felt humiliated and disgusted by how everyone treated me. During the speech at the end of the night, Rose and Tom started by talking about how thankful they were to have so many people in their lives. That was just the first jab at me. They kept throwing insults, and the guests laughed. I couldn't take it anymore and got up to leave. I ordered an Uber and went home. I cried the whole way home, and all the way until Ethan got back. When he came home, he was upset. "Why did you leave like that? Do you know how embarrassing that was for me?" "What are you talking about? Don't act like you don't know." "Lily, I had to sit there listening to my parents yell at me, and all the guests felt sorry for me for being with you. Are you serious? What about how embarrassing it was for me?" "Oh, come on, Lily, you could have handled it for just one night. It was my parents' anniversary, for God's sake." "I was ignored by everyone, and your parents chose to make fun of me in their toast. How do you expect me to just accept that?" "I'm not saying they were right, but you could have stuck it out. I would have talked to them about it afterward." "What would that have done for me? I don't like being humiliated." Everyone was laughing at me. "You've never been in that situation, so it's easy for you to talk about it like it's no big deal." "My parents want an apology from you. I want one too." "I'm not apologizing. I'll do it only if they apologize to me first." "Ask for your apology." "I don't see why I should apologize to you. You've always stood up for me, so I don't understand why this time is different." "This is different because, unlike before, you humiliated my family in front of everyone, and your parents humiliated me, your wife, in front of all their guests. Maybe my parents were right about you. You're impossible." With that, Ethan went to sleep in the guest bedroom. I couldn't understand why he suddenly changed like this. Was it really so bad for him when I walked out? He was always the first to defend me, especially when his parents would say rude things about me. Me walking out should have been the biggest sign of just how badly they made me feel, but Ethan didn't seem to care about that. Ethan didn't talk to me for the next week. I also got a lot of texts from his parents calling me ungrateful and an embarrassment. I tried talking to Ethan, but he refused. Eventually, I decided to apologize to both him and his parents. Even though it felt humiliating, I was willing to do it because I loved Ethan and didn't want this to be the thing that ended us. Things only got worse after that. Ethan's parents retired and started hosting family dinners every week. The first time they invited us, Ethan brought me with him. As soon as we walked in, the atmosphere got tense. Rose was busy in the kitchen, so she didn't see me right away. But Tom and the rest of the family awkwardly glanced at me. No one spoke to me, and Ethan just left me standing there alone while he caught up with everyone else. When Rose finally came downstairs, she saw me and stormed over in a fury. "What are you doing here?" "Excuse me?" "No, I will not excuse you. What are you doing in my house?" "Well, you invited us to dinner." "Wrong. I invited Ethan because it's a family dinner. I invited him, not you. You don't belong here. I'm his wife. I am part of this family. You, an orphan like you, doesn't deserve to be in my family." "What, you thought you could hide that from us? We do background checks on our children's spouses. You're not in my son's league." "So, that's it? That's the only thing that decides if I get to be part of your family? You're poor and unattractive. You'll never fit in with our kind of people. Why are you being so superficial? Are you afraid I'll ruin your reputation just by being here? Doesn't it matter that I make your son happy? If happiness made people rich, everyone would be billionaires. That's why you'll never fit in with us. Or maybe I'll never be as shallow as the rest of you, because I care about who a person really is. You never even bothered to get to know me before judging me. I'm glad I don't fit in with you." "Lily, that's enough. Here's some money. Go get yourself an Uber and leave." I stared in shock as Ethan handed me the money. He shoved it into my hand and turned back to his mom. She smirked at me. Tears filled my eyes as I turned and left. I cried the entire Uber ride home. I couldn't understand why Ethan had changed so much. Was this his way of making up to his parents for what happened at the party? Whatever it was, I was hurt and angry. Ethan was okay with his parents insulting my past, and instead of standing up for me, he defended them. I wanted to scream, but I knew that would only make me look worse and prove them right, so I left. I tried to figure out if I said anything wrong, but I didn't see it. I was just standing up for myself, calmly. When Ethan came home, he went back to ignoring me. My heart was breaking, and I felt so alone. I knew he expected another apology, but I couldn't do it. Just like last time, Rose had insulted me in the worst way, and Ethan was angry at me for it. If anything, I thought he owed me an apology. For the next 2 weeks, Ethan and I didn't talk. It was hard at first, but eventually, I got used to it. The family dinners still happened, and once a week, I was home alone, which honestly, I didn't mind. On one of those nights, my parents video called me. "Hey, honey. Hey, sweetie, how's everything? Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, things aren't good. Why, what's going on, sweetie? If you need anything, we're here for you. I don't think this is something you can help with, but thanks. Where's Ethan? Is he not helping? That's the problem, he's part of it. Sweetie, could you be a little more specific about what's going on? Well, his parents are wealthy and very snobby. Oh, I can't stand people like that. Tell me about it. They think I'm just some poor girl who could never fit into their world, so they've been humiliating me every time I meet them. What? That's horrible. Yeah, and last time, Ethan's mom called me an orphan as an insult. What? I'll claw her face off. How dare she call my precious child an orphan? What's Ethan doing through all of this? I didn't tell them about you guys because I knew their opinion of me would change, and I wanted them to like me for who I am, not just my wealth. As for Ethan, he's siding with them. He thinks I was disrespectful for standing up for myself. Honey, are you sure this is the guy you want to be with? I love him, but this isn't how it should be. We haven't spoken in 2 weeks, and surprisingly, I'm okay with that. All right, sweetie, I'll get you in touch with a friend of mine over there. Don't worry, we can help you out, maybe even give you a little sweet revenge. What do you mean? We're coming to visit next week. We had planned a vacation for you and Ethan, but now we'll just take you. More fun for us together. Really? Oh my God, I'm so excited to see you both. That really lifted my spirits. After we talked for a while, Dad explained the plan. He then asked where the next dinner was. The dinner would be at a restaurant the week my parents arrived. I managed to get the details through Ethan's email, and we were set. My parents arrived and settled into their hotel. We had lunch together. Then they treated me to a spa day to help me unwind while they got ready to deal with my in-laws. They walked into the restaurant where Ethan and his family were dining. According to Dad, when they approached the table, Tom and Rose murmured as they recognized who he was. The conversation went like this. Hello? Oh my gosh, Mr. Burns, what brings you here? I just saw some familiar faces and thought I'd join you for a meal. Familiar faces? Who are you talking about? Well, I see Ethan. Me? Hello, pleasure to meet you. Your daughter's spoken a lot about you, but where is she? Your daughter? I'm afraid you're mistaken. No, I'm not mistaken. She's married to Ethan. What? Her name's Lily, and she was an orphan. Yes, we know, and that's why we adopted her. Excuse me? You're her father? Yes, I am, and from what I see, she's not here. She's told me there were problems with her in-laws, but now I see the issue. It's you. No, she's the one who hid this from us. She didn't want you to treat her differently because of her background. Oh, well. She asked me to give this to Ethan. Dad handed Ethan the divorce papers and walked out. After that, it only took a few calls for investors to back away from Tom's business, and it started to crumble fast. Watching them fall from the heights they mocked was so satisfying. I received a flood of nasty texts from Ethan's family, with some begging me to ask my dad what he did. Thankfully, Ethan signed the divorce papers without a fight. My parents and I went on a long vacation, and I had the time of my life. Slowly, I began to heal. Losing the love of my life hurt, but I learned how crucial it is to stand up for myself. I'll always be grateful to my parents for their support, and I'm excited to see what else life has in store for me.